Hello, friends. It's me, Duncan, and you are watching or listening to the Duncan Trussell Family Hour podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, will you give me some love? Like it, subscribe it, comment, do whatever it takes to make that algorithm latch on to this channel like a seagull holding a dead thing that it plucked out of an old urn somewhere on a cursed beach. I love you. And I'm really happy that you're watching my podcast at all. This is an incredible episode with Ari Shaffir. We're going to jump right into that. Hang on just a little bit, though, and you're about to get your mind blown. I got a DM from the amazing Simon Plank Hartley. Of course, if you were at Coachella, you saw what he did. Very controversial. Was it exactly the best choice you could have made? Look, I'm not gonna make a judgment on that. You know, if we start talking about where we should put things in our bodies, then what are we going to talk about next? Where we shouldn't? And then once you start talking about where you shouldn't, the next thing you know, you find yourself inadvertently becoming some kind of body fascist, which I don't want to be. I did watch the Coachella set and it made me throw up, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy it. I won't waste your time anymore. I know you're probably excited about this. No one has seen this music video yet. It is a cover of one of my favorite songs by Chad Van Galen, who, if you haven't listened to his stuff, you definitely need to listen to every single song he ever made. He is one of my favorite musicians out there. This is a cover of Chad Van Galen's Monster by Simon Plank Hartley. And this is the premiere of that music video. Ripping my eyelids a little bit wider are two prying hands that grew out from my shoulders, and I can't explain why, but it's hurting my eyes. Thick blackened quills springing out of my back, and there's hair in between and in all of the cracks of my skin that's grown scaly and pale orange brown. In my mind there's a cloud and it wants to come out. I'm a monster. My fingers have shriveled and dropped to the dirt, and two giant talons have grown where they were. I'm starting to think I will never return to my previous form, which I can't quite recall, but I'm not hungry at all. I'm a monster. I'm a monster. And I feel the compulsion to dig myself in, so I start waiting for like some feverish more. That was Monster by Simon Plank. That was Simon Plank Hartley's cover of Chad Van Galen's Monster. Remember, listen to everything Chad Van Galen ever made. It's good for you. It'll be good for your family. And it'll be good for your community. Before we jump into it, I got to tell you what dates I've got coming up. If somehow this makes it up before May 3rd and May 4th, you can find me at Cobb's Comedy Club May 3rd and May 4th. That's in San Francisco. Then I'll be at the Milwaukee Improv May 9th through the 11th. Helium Comedy Club in Portland May 30th through June 1st. The Orange Peel in Asheville, North Carolina. That is June 11th, June 12th. Right after that, you can find me at Good Nights Comedy Club in Raleigh. That's June 13th through the 15th. Then I'm going to be at Helium in Buffalo, August 8th through the 10th. Side Splitters, August 15th through the 16th in Tampa. And November 1st, the Wilbur in Boston. I'm very excited about that. And I hope that you will come and see one of my shows. Today's guest, Ari Shaffir, has been on a million things. You've seen him on JRE. You've seen his amazing comedy specials. And now he's got a brand new podcast called You Be Trippin'. I was just on an episode. He has people on who talk about their travel stories. And I talked about what it was like to go to Varanasi. You should definitely check it out. It's You Be Trippin', and it's on your mom's house. So go watch it. But before you do that, please watch this incredible, earth-searing, radical conversation with Ari Shaffir, where we discussed many things, including, is the quadratic equation the right method to solve the Hinckley-Williams? And we talk about many things. We got into the quadratic equation. We talked about some of the problems with Franklin's reservoir, or the thought experiment that you use to determine isolateral triangles in their relationship to bird migration patterns. And we talked about the seventh seal and opening it, which I guess Ari says he's going to do soon. So stay tuned. Here we go. Ari Shaffir.
Hi, buddy. What did that lady say?
Oh, the response was, let me see here. She said that I was just showing Ari something I've been working on, which is I'm trying to program this Adobe character animator puppet with the personality of Charles Manson. And so, of course, Ari's first question to her was, are you aware of your own sexuality? And the response was, man, sexuality is just another label, It's all about how you connect with the universe and the people around you. It's deeper than the surface stuff, deeper than what society tries to make of it. It's about the energy you feel, the vibrations between beings, not just a simple category. What about you? How do you see it? That was the response.
I mean, way to avoid the question.
I'll say that. Hold on. Let's see. Way to avoid the question. Let's see what its response is. Way to avoid the question. I just wish you could hear the voice.
Yeah.
The thing about this Manson that I've trained is if you
This
usually,
Manson?
if
You
you,
creating an
I've
army
trained
of
a few.
Mansons?
Yeah, well, just a few Mansons, because there's so much data on him. So he's actually very easy to train. But this Manson, I think, if you mention your girlfriend or that you're married, we'll try to fuck her right away. I trained it to do that. So if you start mentioning that you have a girlfriend right away, he does some hippie voodoo to try to fuck her.
Wow.
I know, it's so fun. But I don't want to trouble you with my AI bullshit, man. You're in New York right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why are you laughing at that? Because you're beating the
worried
world.
about this army of fucking Mansons you're training.
Oh, no. Nothing to worry about with that, Ari. Nothing could go wrong with this. What could go wrong with this? Nothing to worry about. Don't get into the AI hysteria thing. It's just an army of Mansons. How could that go wrong? Just some Mansons. Army of Mansons.
It's a good band name.
It's a great fucking band name, and it'll probably be a pretty shitty band. You see, that's where, with Manson, it's if you listen to his music, he was a way better cult.
Here's one good song.
Let me guess, Garbage Dump?
I don't remember the name. I'm not good with names. But there's one song I'm like, this is a good song. I just found an album that was all of Manson's music. It wasn't sanctioned by him, but it was all of his recorded songs put together. I didn't get it. I didn't want it in my house.
I like Home Is Where the Heart Is. I like Garbage Dump.
It's very 60s, very Laurel Canyon vibe.
Home is where the heart is. It's not where you're not free. Home is where you're happy. That'd be a good theme song for your show, actually.
Yeah.
But he's got a few that are pretty good. But you just see how he was kind of teetering on the cusp. He was good at networking. he had
Great
like
networking.
he was Manson. You could write a business book on network like Manson, because he could fucking network, and his strategy was he's charismatic, he's cool, looks like Jesus, but just bring hot girls wherever you go. So you're in Hollywood, everyone knows if they invite that crazy hippie, and he brings like six hot girls.
Chicks. Yeah.
And probably acid too. I'm guessing he would bring a lot of good drugs. So then he goes to these fucking parties. He uses his charisma, hypnotizes people, becomes friends with Brian Wilson, from the Beach Boys, and like was right there. And this is why you need to prepare for that moment. When you get in front of like whoever, because he spent too much time being a cult leader, and if he just practiced guitar a little bit more.
Didn't have a demo. Didn't have a good enough demo.
Well, he tried to do a demo, but he wasn't ready for the demo. He did that thing. It happens to some comedians where they're very good at networking, but they aren't quite ready with stand-up. And so,
Right.
you know what I mean?
That was Richard Pryor's problem.
What do you mean?
He was a great networker, but nobody actually, I don't think everybody
No one liked him.
refers to him as a stand-up.
No, not Richard Pryor. He's a sad story, Pryor, actually. Yeah. It's sad, because to me, it's like he really could have been big if he'd gone up a little bit more.
Off the drugs.
Not enough stage time.
Not enough stage time. Yeah, there is a lot of that, though. You know what's funny, too, is just now thinking of Brian Wilson at a party, like, hey, man, we don't do that fame thing. I'm just hanging out. And then other people are like, that's Brian Wilson. I'm going to try to be friends with him. He can help me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That shit was definitely in the 60s, too.
Oh, God. Fuck yeah. That's through every age. Yeah. Every fucking age that shit happens. I don't even know if people can do much about it. So just admit that if you're a monkey thing, you want to groom. Like monkeys, they like to groom, and there's a hierarchy of grooming, and that's just the way it works, whether you like it or not. But yeah, he he came so close. He tried to record some shit because, I think Brian Wilson hooked him up. Went into the studio with a bunch of fucking Manson girls, and you just hear him, and they're like bongos and shit, just out of his mind. Damn it out in front of the door, open the door to your mind. Bongo, shitty guitar. And it's like, yeah, dude, charisma will get you in the door, but you got to know guitar. And if he just worked a little harder, vocal lessons.
Yeah.
Vocal lessons. Take vocal lessons.
You weren't William Hung. You were right. You were fine. You could have taken a few lessons.
And it's the 60s. It's not. You don't have to be like a great.
Bob Dylan came out of that. Bob Dylan came out fine. He's a fucking.
Oh my God.
He sounds like a mule getting fucked.
He sounds like an old. It's like if somebody put a mouth on a old man's scrotum in a desert, like an old man who'd been lost in the desert, and put some vocal cords in that scrotum, and then you get Bob Dylan.
I wonder if Bob Dylan really drove a lot of people if he can do it, I can do it. These lyrics don't even mean shit. He has one decent album. The rest is all garbage, overrated. They're like, oh, you're anti-war? You're the guy from the 60s anti-war? Fucking sing a song, bro.
Dude, what I really love about Bob Dylan, who the fucking, not the Smother, no, what's the name of that old school, God
Mamas
damn it, what are their, no, not the Mamas of the Papas, it's in comedy. It's like you're supposed to like it, but it's like black and white, old school comedy.
Laurel and Hardy?
Smothers Brothers.
Smothers Brothers, yeah.
No, not this. No, Laurel and Hardy. I think it's Laurel and Hardy. It's one of these, I don't know. Bob Dylan is one of those things you're supposed to like. And when you meet a Bob Dylan fan, when you just say the truth, you're like, dude, it's pretty bad. Like a lot of places, maybe there's a few songs. I like Johnny's in the basement mixing up the medicine. I'm on the pavement thinking about the government. Man, I like that. That's a good song.
That's fun. Hurricane's not bad.
Yeah.
Hurricane Carter. But really, he's just trying to milk off the struggle of the black man.
Dylan?
Well, in Hurricane. Dude, you didn't do shit. This guy's been in jail. You just took a story.
Well, I think that was kind of... I try not to think of him that much, but I think that was one of the critiques of him, is he just sort of sponged up the culture. He just,
You know who I was thinking about? Who's the black comic who just died? He became an activist. Old, like Garrett Morris age. And
I don't know.
you know his name. Hold on.
No, I don't. Was he on SNL?
Possibly.
Because if
Hold
the
on.
comic wasn't on SNL, I don't know their name. I just use SNL as my gauge for success.
Dick Gregory.
Oh, yeah, Dick Gregory. That's the dude. Was he an activist? I thought he was more like a conspiracy theorist, dude. Like,
Was he ever on SNL?
I don't know, man. Probably.
Dick Gregory. But he quit doing stand-up. He said, it's not right for me to make jokes about the black struggle and then go back to my hotel room. He goes, I can't soak up. I can't be making money off this. He goes, yeah, he was the only one really talking about it instead of just like shucking and jiving. And then he goes, oh, this is actually wrong. While I believe that there is a struggle, I can't go back to the Four Seasons.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I'm making this money, and he goes, I just got to be full activist. And he wrote a book. It called it The N-Word. And yeah, he was just off to the races. Then later came back to stand up a little bit, but it wasn't like regular stand up anymore.
What are your thoughts on that way of approaching being an activist? The idea that if you're an activist, you should also be poor. Friends, this sponsor makes me feel like we actually are in the future. Kalshi was founded by two MIT engineers, and it's the first legal financial exchange in the U.S. where you can bet on any event. You know what that means? No more betting on sports. No more having to feel like a complete outsider, an outcast, like Cain wandering off into the land of Nod because you don't know about sports. You might not know about sports. I don't, but you know what I do know about? AI. And I can now bet on AI. I can bet on things like whether or not we'll achieve a strong general AI this year, whatever it is. Kalshi lets you bet on reality. It's basically like the New York Stock Exchange or NASDAQ, but instead of investing in stocks, you can invest in things that you care and know about. The exchange has hundreds of thousands of users and has already seen more than $500 million of trading. They've got a ton of markets. You can make money by betting on the things that impact you most, like, will TikTok be banned? Will the Google CEO leave this year? How many Oscars will Dune 2 win? Hundreds of other markets. Whatever you're into, you can find it there. And even if you don't want to try out this kind of trading, it's an incredible way to prognosticate what's coming. It's like the group mind joining together and putting their money where their mouth is. It's people who actually are betting on events that could be on the horizon. You should definitely check it out. It's wild. And you can trade now on events that matter most to you on a federally regulated platform. You could sign up by using my link, which is kalshi.com/Duncan. And the first 500 traders to deposit $50 will get a free $20 credit. Again, it's kalshi.com/Duncan. The first 500 traders to deposit $50 will get a free $20 credit. Try it out. Kalshi. Whoa, you're cool. Back to the podcast.
I don't think. I don't agree with that. But I don't think he felt he should be poor. I don't think that's on him. He just said, I can't make money at this while there's a struggle going on. He could make money at something else. But
you know
not
what? Here's what confuses me about that. Though I do think it's admirable in its own way.
Yeah.
Why not just make money, but don't keep it? Why not any money you make, put it into your movement, and then you're in a weird way, you're sort of draining one coffer to fill up your whatever your particular coffer is.
Yeah. Dude, I went to San Francisco. I saw there was a fire sale on Bill Cosby albums. This was about 5-6 years ago, right, when he was being found out. And so I was like, I'll give him a listen for 25 cents each. I'll give him a listen. And then later I was like, why didn't you guys just throw this away? If it's so abhorrent to have Cosby in your stuff that you're fire selling it down to a quarter, just chuck it,
we don't
bro.
want to make $20 an album, but a quarter an album, yeah, that's okay.
That's us getting
what
back
the
at them. Just throw it, just burn it.
It is funny because if you're going to go full boycott as a record store, you got to like just, burn the albums, burn the books. You can't profit off it at all.
Yeah. Yeah, just make your money and then give it to whatever cause you have. Be a venture capitalist and give it away.
Also, it's like a fascinating thing. It's like, okay, let's just say Jeffrey Dahmer was like an incredible inspirational author. Like his books were like Deepak Chopra.
Yeah. And then also 8 people.
Right. But I mean, the advice, like before anybody found out, the advice that he gave, it
still
works.
valuable.
Saved lives. People's lives were saved with Dahmer's advice on how to get out of a depression, exercise routines. Like before anybody knew, he's like chomping dudes. So you know what I mean? Because the man is a deranged cannibal, does it negate the efficacy of his techniques?
He can't give you directions.
Right.
If somebody's like, how do I get to Main Street? It's like, oh, you make a left on Vermont, and then you make a right immediately on Smithson, and that'll take you right to Main Street.
Dude, thank God
And you'd be like,
Newton.
nope, I don't want those directions.
Thank God Newton wasn't a cannibal, right?
Oh my God, we'd have no gravity.
What do? We'd still
be
have
floating.
gravity. We wouldn't be allowed to say what it was.
I don't think that's how it works, Duncan. I think we wouldn't have gravity. He invented
You think it's
gravity.
his fault?
He was the inventor of gravity.
What a piece of shit. The world before Newton, you floated around, everything floated. You had to tether your house to the earth. Yeah, well, I mean, to me, that's the craziest thing about trying to create a saint or a good person out of an artist or an inventor or whatever. The expectation for if you invent, like if you've cured cancer, if you are a funny comedian, if you are a great artist, but you are also a fucking monster, then we must not listen, read, or use your tactics or techniques because of your like sins. That to me that seems so wasteful.
It's so wasteful. They had this with Nazi research. They're like, do we benefit from this Nazi medical research? And it's like, well, not if they're still doing it.
Right.
If they're still doing it, you don't want to buy into the system. But it's like, it's already over.
Okay,
it's like I don't want to benefit off the murder of cows or whatever. I'm a Buddhist and I don't want.
But let's say you're
this is already dead.
All right, let's say you were Jewish. Would you still feel this way?
Well, Duncan, I got news for you.
Oh shit! Are you really? I had no idea. So as a Jewish person,
I love when there's a Jewish thing, so I can finally speak up for the apathy that I've been promoting for so many years.
What do you mean?
And it's easy for you to say that you're not black. It's easy for you to say that you're not this. And then finally, whenever it's a Jewish thing, I'm like, I'm telling you now, finally, I don't care. When Nick Cannon is like, oh, he gotta get fired, I'm like, no, don't fire him. He's just dumb. You're allowed to be dumb.
This is great, right? So finally, they can't say to you, well, you don't care because it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
Now you can be like, truly, I am a nihilist.
Yeah, and then they try to do that with the Hamas-Israel thing. They're like, I don't fucking follow this. It's so fucking gross and fucking unsettling. Well, there's flowers out. There's fucking flowers out. I'm not watching rape videos right now. But then they're like, oh, of course you'd say that. I'm like, no. Been saying it for a fucking decade. Don't read or watch any of it unless you're going to go enlist. Eat a dick.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, you have to consider the massive amount of good stuff that has been created by horrible people.
Yeah.
And if, I can't because I'm not Jewish. If I can't say that what
You can pass.
well, my grandfather was. You don't get in, but bullshit.
Sorry, buddy. Sorry.
True
Meet you at the gate.
bullshit. It's a
Say goodbye at
different
the gate.
podcast. True bullshit. I'm going to the Supreme Court to have the whole thing changed.
Yeah.
But what I'm getting at here is, I think if I was experimented on, I would want some
Use it.
good to come out of that.
Yeah.
Probably. I mean, not
There's
for
a
the
guy it wasn't Stalag 17. It was in there was an uprising book about an uprising in the Polish ghetto. Uprising. I don't know. I forgot the name of the book. But one guy was a doctor, and he got some disease, and so he goes, "Oh, I'm definitely not going to make it then." And so he starved himself. He was like, "Well, don't give me any food, because I don't want to waste it. I'm terminal. So let me starve myself, and I will write out medically the effects of starvation on the human body."
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So that because he's willing, you can use it.
Right. Well, yeah. I guess it's an issue of consent, but the whole, any sort of elimination of data based on the
It's tough.
mouthpiece is really weird. I mean, with Cosby, it's like it's.
Also, the stuff didn't come off the hatred. At least the Nazi research does come from the awful deed. You know,
his jokes didn't come from.
Yeah, that R. Kelly, he wasn't like, I can only write songs while I'm pissing on a 15-year-old. You know what I mean? It's like a separate thing.
Dude, I hope he sucks so bad. If you realized, as a comedian, if suddenly you began to realize that whenever I am pissing on a 15-year-old, these brilliant jokes come into my like you're in such a horrible, that would be a horrible place, you know, and you don't know, maybe with Cosby it was like that, maybe like he realized like only when I'm being a predator do the jokes come, you know, and he gets the call, he's like, dude, we need another album, and he's like, oh fuck, I don't want it, no more albums, and he's just
No more albums, I can't do it. Like, we need it.
Yeah.
And they get it. They get them on both ways. Like, you gave money to that school, they're gonna go bankrupt if you don't. Ah, fuck! It's a pro and con. They do this with conservation in real life. They're like, hey, if you let us kill a rhinoceros, we'll give you like $20 million. You can save like a bunch of rhinoceroses. And they go, damn, that's against what we believe in. Like, overall, more rhinos will be saved. And they go, they're struggling with it, I guess. I think their bottom line is like, no, we can never be for the death of any species that's going extinct.
Wait, I don't get it. So like so they
you go to the Zairean government and say, hey, if we can go kill one rhino on a fucking protected land, we'll give you all this money for the right to do it, to go on a hunt, and you can use that money for conservation.
Who does this?
What?
Who does this?
Rich British people. They pay hella.
Can you
like a lion hunt?
What lions are different than like rhinos though. Like, why do you even want to kill a rhino? You just wake up in the morning like I don't know. Your kid's watching fucking Blippi. You see a rhino. You're like, boy, I'd love to blow that fucking thing's brains all over Africa. Call them $20 million. I don't save some rhinos. What, simple shot, no big deal. Do you want to go to Africa, honey? Who even wants to do that? That fucking hobby or whatever you want to call it is very confusing to me. It's like, you generally, like, don't you have kind of like a security detail around you? You have like snipers in the trees in case the lion gets too. Yeah, so it's not even. It's not real hunting. You're not doing like Hemingway hunting.
Yeah. And what if it was like pedophilia? Like, hey, I'll give like $100 million to pedophilia protection, but you gotta just look the other way for this one kid.
Right.
Less kids will be fucked because of what I'm doing here.
Right.
That's a tough one. I'd say you couldn't really do it.
I mean,
you're thinking only one way to find out. That's what you're thinking.
You know me so well. How do you know me so well? You're fucking basically telepathic. Things like this, you know what the nucleus of this is? It's human fucking sacrifice. It's like we have completely abandoned our past, and we like to think that human sacrifice or using pain, torture, torment, horror for the betterment of the world is off the fucking table. Even though the military-industrial complex is the biggest industry on earth and it's literally a human sacrifice machine, we still, like, in the more, like, nuanced ways, like, it's rhino, it's an animal sacrifice. I shall sacrifice a rhino to the gods, and then the other rhinos will benefit. It's the same. We're talking about the efficacy of human sacrifice, and as an ancient, time-worn tradition, from Christianity to Judaism, Jesus fucking Christ, man. The Old Testament, your whole fucking thing starts with God demanding a human fucking sacrifice.
Oh, yeah.
Taking it all the way to maximize the destruction of that relationship between the father and the son. Like, you know what I mean? Because, yeah, maybe God likes you now, and he's like, okay, don't kill the kid, but your kid's never going to look at you the same. It's like, are you fucking serious, Dad? You are really going to do it?
It's God. Yes. And you
Which
have to
God?
also.
How do you know it's... Who are you talking to, Dad?
No, well, there's lots of gods. Well, now there's only... Okay, so ours is not the most powerful. Ours is saying there's no other ones. Yeah, it's not like a contest.
So it's the only God.
No contest.
So there's only God.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he wanted me to kill you. But he didn't want me to kill you.
Why does he talk to you at all? As opposed to other people?
We made a covenant, but I don't know why he made it with me.
Okay, Dad. Is it that it's a disembodied voice that is making you believe it?
Yes. Well, I think it was more I felt it in my brain.
Oh, it's a feeling then.
Yeah, the only way most people can understand it is like the voice came to me, but the voice was coming from inside you.
So you're not sure, basically, that you're talking to God.
There's some hazy details for sure.
All right, well, maybe that's not somebody you should listen to. Have you thought about that? I mean, the whole thing was kind of pointless, too. And also, didn't this God, if he truly made everything and knows you, didn't he already know that you would do what he said? Couldn't he run the simulation? Like, oh, yeah, you would definitely kill his fucking kid for me. Why did he have to get you to actually do it?
Well, because he's still got to see how it turns out. I have to overcome. I have to show that I could do it. So it's for me to do.
Why are you pissing on me, Dad? Dad, why do you keep pissing on me?
God told me. What a great defense of me. You know, Deion Sanders said that for a while. He was a real Christian. He said that too. Jesus told me not to pay my mechanic. And the mechanic was like, no, you owe me like 20 grand. No.
Oh, my God.
Jesus said not to pay you.
You know, that is, I think, the problem is, it's like, okay, let's think of the Nigerian email scam, right? Like, you get an email from a Nigerian king saying, I need help. I've somehow identified you through my bank. I have like $50 million that I've got to get into an American account. I will give you 30% of it if you just fucking give me your bank account details. And so if you have a sufficient amount of like senile dementia, you give them your bank account and they drain your fucking accounts.
Just gotta believe.
Now, theoretically, there could be an actual Nigerian king that is like, I'm fucked. We've got to get the money out of the fucking accounts. He emails somebody and they're like, fuck you, man. I'm not falling for this shit. Similarly,
Boy Who Cried Wolf.
God, if he really did talk to you, and assuming it isn't some demon, because I'll tell you this, if I was a fucking demon and I realized that
you're God.
Yeah, you just don't need a body. If you go and whisper in their ear and you don't have a body, they will do literally anything for you.
Anything, especially in Israel. They'll be like, oh, I'm being spoken to.
That's the problem. It's like, there's no way to like do an analysis. There's no way to like, you can test MDMA at a rave. If God starts talking to you, you can't do some kind of purity test. You just have to trust it. My point is, if God actually did choose you, Ari Shaffir, as the next Messiah or a prophet, and came to you and started talking to you, whoa, think of the horrible task in front of you. Like how impossible.
I mean, he would start by asking for small stuff. Sure. Drop it to 10. put this cup up on the
Push-ups.
top shelf. I'll move it back down. And then eventually it would have to go to like fun stuff for him.
Right.
I mean, if I were invisible, I always thought I'd just overhear conversations, but really now I realize I would talk to people. Kick that dog. Kick it. Kick that dog.
Oh, yeah.
Kick that dog. The owner's cool with it. Kick the dog.
Yeah. I mean, just the power you would have from not having a body and being able to communicate with
They'd be like,
people telepathically.
why haven't you kicked the dog yet? You're making us all very upset.
You're angering me. You're angering me. And then to prove that if you don't do what God says, all you have to do is like tell some other asshole to like come to you in the morning and like slap you in the face. Just find someone more gullible.
Say that was from God.
Yeah.
God said to do that.
God's sending
He
you a
said-
fucking message. It's just too much I mean, that's the problem, is like the lack of some physical body, the lack of some like some credentials. We have to do this on just blind trust, a general sense, even though like that's one of the number one signs that you're having dementia or schizophrenia.
Oh yeah, schizo. Dude, quoting the Bible is one of the early signs of like, oh, they're losing it.
Yeah. What is it? Who is it? Was it Alan Watts who said, "The mystic swims in the waters that the madman drowns in"? It's like same situation. It's just the mystic seems to be better at filtering out demons from angels, whereas the madman, any gutter variety shit demon can convince them it's
Quotes aren't
God.
quite right. Yeah, I had to check someone into the psych ward, and when I finally was like, oh, they're really fucked. It was like when I looked up, like, is quoting the Bible a thing? And they were never really raised religious. And then you look online, they're like, oh yeah, get them in there right now.
Quoting the Bible wasn't the only symptom.
No, already going nuts. But then on top of that, quoting a non-religious person quoting the Bible a lot.
So it was like a manic episode or something, probably. Manic. Yeah, that's how it shows up. Bipolar shows up. It's always messianic. They start quoting the Bible. They think the world's about to end.
I'm way important. I'm
They're very
part of this.
important. Very important. They have to save the world right now, and they're like in a rush to do it. And it's pretty. Look, people say when you go into a manic episode, it's actually like the best. Like it feels really good. It's so people who have manic depression, they don't like taking their meds, some of them, because they like getting high like that. It's just the crash that fucks them up, because you can't sustain that level of madness. Eventually you crash, and then that's when you crash. I think it's a lot like coming off of ecstasy or something. You just want to die. And all the emails you have to answer when you've been in the episode, and like people are like, dude, why'd you fucking set my car on fire? Why'd you spray paint the Psalms onto my house?
That's what the doctor asked me when I checked this person in. They were like, are they a danger to themselves or others? And I was like, honestly, man, I don't think so. And then he goes, that includes a financial danger. And I was like, oh, yeah, for sure. they're getting people fired all the time now. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. That's amazing you were even able to get them checked in, because usually you can't. It's hard to get someone checked in. Usually you can't. Like, it takes a lot of luck. Dude,
it was a 3.5, maybe 5 hour wait at psych ward. They're manically on their phone constantly. And I'm like, I got them. And as soon as their phone went out of batteries, they were like, what are we doing? Can we get out of here? I'm like, fuck, see us already. Let us in.
How did you get them in at all? How did you convince them to go to the psych ward?
I eventually was like, listen, everybody's talking about this. Let's clear the air. Let's just get a professional to tell you you're fine.
Right.
And I try to go to the one big one in New York that's like well known for it. Bed-Stuy. No. Not Bed-Stuy. I forgot. It's a well-known like hospital that has that ward, among other. And they're like, I'm not going to there. I'm like, okay, how about just another hospital then, uptown? And they're like, look, they'll just tell you you're fine. They're a professional doctor. They'll say you're fine. Then we can tell everybody, hey, you guys are way off. This doctor said I'm fine.
Right.
And then
how are they doing now?
Totally fine. A million times better.
How long were they in there for?
Oh, about a week.
That's serious. That's a long time. Did they have insurance?
I don't know.
You motherfucker. You might as well. I don't know what's worse. A manic episode or going into a fucking psych ward without insurance. I'm not sure what would have been worse. What?
It's a $300 asprin now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fucked.
I don't know, Ari. I don't know if what you did was necessarily the right thing. Just let him crater out. Don't take a week in a psych ward. That's probably $100,000. They probably had insurance.
They might have insurance, yeah.
I'm sure that impacts whether a psych ward, like how
We'll even
crazy
see
a
you.
psych ward
Yeah.
thinks you are.
Oof.
So you don't have insurance. Well, you're fine.
I think you're fine.
I think, it is a
Walk it
hard
off.
time. Jesus could be talking to you. Oh, you have insurance. We're going to have to get you in here for like
Lock
a
him
year.
up.
How
Lock
long's
him
your...
up.
Yeah. Dude, I'm reading One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Have you ever read that? Mm-mm. Ooh, it's
Saw
good.
the book,
It's...
but I'm sure it's not the same. Who wrote
You
it?
mean you saw the book? You saw the movie?
I saw the book. Who
I
wrote
saw
it?
the book. It's so good, Ken Kesey, and it's totally different from the movie. It's from the point of view of the Native American, the guy, the mute in the beginning, and
Just what he sees?
yeah, and Ken Kesey was involved in like the MK Ultra LSD CIA test. So they were giving Ken Kesey tons of acid, and so basically like it's analysis of society from the perspective that if you can't fit into society, or what this guy calls the combine, then you are put into a psych ward so that you can realign. It has nothing to do with sanity as much as like you have to be able to harmonize with this completely robotic, soulless, soul-crushing society. And so you go in there and you're basically not made sane. You're taught to be, you're taught to respect authority. That's the great teaching. It's not to make you better. It's to understand hierarchy and your place in it and following rules.
You're
So
not
that
your own
when-
person.
Nothing to do with being sane at all.
Damn.
It's good. You would like it a lot.
Yeah. Dude, I met a guy yesterday. I went to return some clothes on Broadway. I bought a bunch of stuff for a special. I had to return a bunch. And this guy was like, oh, just some like street guy. Yo, dude, I know you. You're funny. I met you 10 years ago. I was like, oh, really? He goes, yeah, you're funny. I was like, oh, okay. He goes, you should see what I do here. I'm like, what do you do? He goes, so they don't see me here. He goes, I sit on the ground, they don't see me. I'm black, and I sit on the ground, so I'm invisible. And I see them all walking every day. I'm here every day. I see them all walking, and none of them see me. All I have to do is sit on the ground and be black, and I'm invisible. So I just, for hours, just watch everybody. Everybody's on the phone. Everybody's looking down. All the Asians are dressed black. All the whites are dressed Asian. The husbands are all fucking in hell. They don't want to be there. They're in a woman's shopping area. And it's all built on what was the coolest mural gallery place before, and now it's just fucking the Levi's store and fucking H&M and Banana Republic. And so none of that shit exists, and none of them see me. I try to scare them out of their routines. So I'll like try to get their attention. If I see they're German, I'll learn a little bit of German. I'll learn a little bit of everything. Just try to scare them out of their routines. And it's funny. He goes, I'm wearing a Prada shirt, but all they see is a black person on the ground. They can't see, like, my shirt's way more expensive than theirs. I'm wearing Jordan 2s. Like, these are expensive items of clothes, but I'm invisible, so I get to just observe. And then when I want to scare them out, I scare them out. I was like, damn. And then I was looking while I was saying this. I was a little high. I'm like, yeah, you're invisible here. And I was like, there's no black people here. He goes, no, not really. An occasional one, but very rarely. Wow. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Yeah.
Dude, how cool. He revealed himself to you. You didn't see him either until he like popped. This is something I read that if you take magic literally, like, the wizard can turn themselves invisible. You're missing the whole point. Like, can they really turn themselves invisible? No. But can they make themselves completely unnoticed? Yes. They're very good at that. They have to. And that was, from that definition, a wizard who'd cast an invisibility spell that was sitting there studying humans and like with some kind of benevolent intent, I guess, to like try to snap them out of the NPC haze that they're in. But also it sounds like he was doing just some kind of study. So weird.
Yeah, I mentioned to somebody, and they're like, I've seen that guy. He like gets up on like the subway like railing, and he like kind of like jumps
I can't
at you
hear
and
you.
scares you. I'm like, oh yeah, it's an art project.
Faded.
They're like,
oh
no, he's just a
wait,
weirdo.
go back 2 sentences. You faded out for a second. Go back 2 sentences.
I said I talked to somebody. I was mentioning to somebody yesterday, and I was like, yeah, and they were like, oh, I saw that guy. I've seen that guy before. He like jumps at you and scares you. I've seen him standing on the railing of the subway. He's like a weirdo. I'm like, no, he's an artist. And they were like, he just jumped at me once and scared me. I'm like, did he try to steal anything? They're like, no. I'm like, yeah, he's doing an art project for no money.
Right.
A long-term art project. He sells like paintings and stuff, but he's not begging. It's just so interesting. He goes, I don't care. I'm not racist. I don't care about race, but like they will ignore you if you are black and on the ground.
Yeah. I mean, it for sure is an art project. It is definitely some kind of like sorcery. And
sorcery, yeah. He's like the power of invisibility.
It's right. Invisibility, and also it's recognizing another kind of sorcery, right? Like, because like all the people who were hypnotized by their phones, like that's sorcery. They're like, this has got to be in human history the greatest time to be a pickpocket.
I was gonna say abduct a child.
Why? Oh yeah,
I see them. They're on their things.
Right.
They're not looking.
I think
nannies are not looking. They're on their fucking things.
Right. It's got to be hard to kidnap these days compared to the old days, but it's got to be much easier to grab anything out of anybody's pocket because no one situational awareness is like so low right now.
So low. Yeah. Bobby Kelly did it. We were walking. There was some pretty cute girl walking in New York, and we were all walking. She was looking down, and Bobby goes, he goes, oh, watch out. Like, there's a car coming. And she stopped, and he goes, haha, I fooled you. She just started dying laughing. She was fooled. She could have gone the mean way, but she was like, yeah, it's like shook her out of her fucking, her haze.
Yeah, that thing, when it's done benevolently, is really good because it like people don't even realize they've been like, some people have been sleepwalking for weeks. They don't even know it, and then something pops you out of it, even for a millisecond. It feels good, like, oh shit, I'm here again, and then you go back into it. Just this dreary shuffle through reality with no idea what's going on around you. God damn, man.
Moments, though. Those couple moments where you get clear, like, oh my God, I've been in a daze. Like, I'm starting to suck back in. It's like a really heavy mushroom trip that, like, you're gone and you're like, whoa, I just saw the truth of the universe. Like, here I go again. But that moment of up above the you know, like the Matrix where he sees above the clouds and goes right back into it. It's that. You know it's possible. You know you're in a haze.
It is possible, for sure. This episode of the DTFH is supported by Aura Frames. Look, I know Mother's Day is coming up, and you're probably thinking, I'm going to get the same old Mother's Day gift, a basket of snakes, an anaconda, a weasel. But guys, friends, this is an antiquated way of celebrating our moms or the moms we're married to. Let's be original. Yes, basket of snakes. It's the new dozen roses, but you know, how many years are we going to keep giving snakes to our moms? Let's give them something unique, something new. And Aura Frames is the perfect gift. I've got my Aura Frame right here. Check it out. I can't show you that. I can't show you that. I can't show you that. Oh yeah, check it out. You can put anything on these things. See that? Those are the Marriott men. Got lots of other great things here. Let's see. Can't show that. Oh, yeah. Because I keep putting up Sydney Sweeney. My wife keeps throwing up pics of Chalamet. Beautiful, beautiful Chalamet. Whatever. Yeah. It's a war, basically. And I'm going to find so many pictures of my dear Sydney Sweeney. That's my wife's broken wrist. She fell off a horse. These things are awesome. And if you give them as a gift, You can load them up with pics that are going to mean something to a mommy out there or whoever you're giving them to. There's a lot of novel uses for Aura frames. You got to try it out. They're so cool, and the pictures are beautiful, and it just works. That's the main thing. It's really easy to figure out. Right now, Aura has a great deal for Mother's Day. Listeners can save on the perfect gift by visiting auraframes.com to get $30 off plus free shipping on their best-selling frame. That's AURA frames.com. Use code Duncan at checkout to save. Terms and conditions apply. It must.
Sight of it.
I mean, you know, knowing that there's like a spectrum of awareness. Anyway, there's people who, when they walk around, are fully aware of what's going on, like cops, detectives, you know, people who've been trained. That when they're going around, they're just observing everything, taking in everything, how many people, like who the people are, where, you know, everything. They're trained to do that. They have to train to do that. So if that's possible, then for sure there's other people who, when you're wandering through the subway or when you're just walking down the street, they see everything around them. They remember who's passing them, who's behind, who's in front of them, who's behind them. And that, to me, just by itself, is like kind of spooky. You
That's
know,
Hitchcock.
like, yeah, that's Hitchcock.
Not Hitchcock. Who's the detective with the long?
Sherlock Holmes. I thought
yeah.
you were meaning like the in a Hitchcock movie, the like you're watching these people who are sort of like in their own little dream, like off to like a Psycho, man, where like, but
No,
yeah,
Sherlock
man.
Holmes is like, I see what everybody sees. I just mark it down.
Right.
I just make a mental note of it.
Yeah.
He goes like, I mean, everyone is like, how many steps did we walk up today? He goes, I don't know. He goes, 13. He goes, but you did know. You stepped up each one of them.
But
so
you didn't notice.
You didn't notice, yeah.
Right. That to me is so weird because if we know that that's true, because there's obviously detectives, and then we know it's true because there's stalkers, pickpockets, and predators, you have to ask yourself, how many of these people are out there at any given time just darting through society, fully aware, studying things, seeing what weird shit they can do just for no reason, like just malfunctioning stuff for fun? How many of them are out there at any given moment? Or do they talk? Does one recognize the other? Probably. Like when
like in Fight Club when he sees like, hey, you didn't do Lost. You didn't have Lost. I saw you at the other meeting.
Yeah.
She's like, shut up, don't ruin it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
People who stand backwards in an elevator just to see what people do.
Yeah, that thing. Like, it's not trolling. It could be, but it's also like the moment you, maybe part of becoming a little more aware is you start realizing how everyone kind of seems to be sleepwalking. And then you want to test that out a little bit. You want to test it out. You want to see how asleep are people really? Like that dude. And then you start realizing, holy shit, they're dead asleep. I can do anything. I can almost do anything. There's no real law or rules or anything because no one's seeing anything anyway.
Wow. Yeah. That's dark. But you can.
Is it dark? It's exciting.
I saw an experiment on social norms or something, and some lady was like, some artist, she was like, I'm going to get a job in a place. I worked it out with the boss, and I'm just going to sit at the desk and stare ahead. And within a short amount of time, the other workers started getting pretty upset. They're like, do you need anything? She's like, oh, no, I'm good. I'm just collecting my thoughts. And then she just sit there, just kind of staring out the window all day. And people are like, hey, what's your project you're working on? She goes, I'm just like getting my thoughts together. And just stare. And they would get madder and madder because she wasn't doing like an agreed upon social norms of like, your computer, read it or type. You can't just not do anything.
Right. They detect it.
They got upset. You weren't blending in.
It's like in a hive. It's like a beehive where a bee starts like doing the wrong fucking job, and then they'll sting it to death.
What are you doing?
Yeah, man. You gotta wonder. You gotta wonder just how expansive this It's like, in India you've got the caste system. But in the West, maybe you have economic systems like lower class, whatever, fucking working class, but then some unacknowledged awareness class where at the lowest part of the rung, it's people who haven't even thought about this at all, who are just like, completely asleep, completely like engaged. They haven't even it hasn't even occurred to them that maybe the things they think aren't them. It hasn't occurred to them that their thoughts are wrong sometimes. So you have that. And then somewhere up the ranks, you have people going to therapy and they start realizing, like maybe some of these things I'm doing aren't the right way to be. I just got stuck in a pattern that I don't have to be in. And then somewhere up that scale, you have people who are fully aware of the fact that they're living on a planet of sleepwalkers. Right. And then those are the people who become politicians. Those are the people who are like, okay, let's fucking work with the herd. Let's see what we can do here. They're very controllable. They believe what I say just because I'm in a suit. and I seem like a nice guy. Let's see what we can do here. Wow. And then maybe there's something above that we don't even know about. Maybe once you become a politician, you realize that is when you get invited into whatever, where
so here's who you actually work for. Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, congratulations, you made it. Good morning, you woke up. Not that very hard, really, but yeah, this is what the actual world is. It's a big study, a cosmic study, the whole planet, a kind of snow globe that we've just been watching to see what happens when we fuck with these monkey descendants we genetically altered 30 million years ago or whatever. I don't know if any of that's true, but certainly it's dangerous to have low situational awareness.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah. What is it in 1984? Was it the proles or the plebes? The masses?
Don't remember.
Yeah, but they were like, hey, they could overthrow anything, but they'll never get it together.
Right.
If you got them involved, everything's fucked. But they're just happy with the sports.
Well, did you see that? Did you see the? It's so good. I want to play it for you on the screen, but I don't think the audio will work. But somebody developed an AI game where all the characters in the city are AI, and has been going up to them saying you're in a video game, right? And they freak the fuck out. They don't like it. They're like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is a great city. Don't you love the city? The mornings here are so nice. He's like, I know it's great. It's a great city, but what about the pigeons? One of them said that. He's like, and the guy that took this guy, he was taken aback because he didn't think the AI could remember there were pigeons in this simulated city. He's like, how do you know about the pigeons? It's like, what do you mean? How do I know about the pigeons? They're beautiful. I love to watch them fly. I have to go. You watch it. It's so weird, dude. It's so weird. Not much different from what your friend was doing, really.
Wow. Damn. Yeah, it's fun, and then you realize you're stuck in it too.
Oh, for sure.
I saw some decent level thinkers were talking. They were like, I just feel like everybody's fucking. It's like, how's nobody seeing this but me? And I was hearing them talk, and I'm like, I wonder how many people thinking the opposite of you are saying the same sentence to each other about you.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
I feel like I'm the only one who sees it real, and everybody's like, oh.
That's how you end up in the psych ward.
Yeah.
That's a path to fucking psych ward. I'm the only one who sees. Everyone else is the sleepers. I'm going to wake them up by throwing cats' heads at them. That's for the machine, to fix the machine. Yeah, I don't know, man. I think...
also, what is it? That's a great episode of your show. Hold on. God, I have a lot of fucking blocks from weed. Give me a second. Midnight Gospel.
Yeah.
Where all the zombies are like, oh, we got to save them. And they're like, it's beautiful. Oh, it's so amazing.
Better.
And I was like, oh, we never considered that. They're enjoying it.
Better to sleep. Maybe that's a really scary thought I had recently is, if Musk's neural lace shit, if incorporating AI with your consciousness, or you could sort of increase your intelligence and awareness. Like, I started thinking like, oh my God, but what happens if you can lower it too? Just as an experiment. And what happens if you just realize like, oh, it's way better to be
dumb, to be out of it.
And then that's the AI apocalypse. It's just humanity's like, fuck this. We shouldn't have grown a neocortex. This sucks. The whole thing's a nightmare. We're just supposed to be fucking, eating. You know, if we fight, we just, sure, from time to time we rip people apart, but mostly we just like, bite their necks until they scream enough, and then we'll go loping off to fuck something. Like maybe the whole thing started going south with the neocortex. It was a bad mutation, not good. We shouldn't be here. The tree of the knowledge of good and evil. We shouldn't have eaten that.
Yeah.
God was right. We should have listened to God. Don't fucking eat that. You want to eat that? You're gonna have a bad trip.
Sometimes I want to see people who get like very involved in politics or world events or any sort of like whatever, and they're like, I know all this stuff, and they get mad. I'm like, do you seem better off for having known?
Oh, no.
Do you seem better off than some child just playing on a swing set?
Wow.
Like, what's it gonna do to you to like worry about the impending nuclear holocaust caused by Iran? What? Why aren't you on a swing set?
Right. I mean, what do you think?
You gonna do anything about it? You're just mad.
I mean, it's like prepping. Those people.
Doomsday prepping? Oh, yeah.
What? Doomsday prepping. Those people are hyper aware of some impending disaster, whatever it may be. At least with the show, they all seem to disagree on what this may be, but it's solar flares, nuclear war, environmental collapse, economic collapse, whatever, earthquakes, floods. And so their lives become consumed with every day storing up food, working on the compound, getting it ready. And what is better? Spending the last few years before civilization collapses, building a fortress where you're going to have to kill people who try to get too close, and you're going to be living in an irradiated wasteland, or, you know what I mean? But you're spending those 4 years like moving every day. They're basically like constantly moving food, frying bacon and putting it in mason jar cans, and like doing drills in the middle of the night, getting their fucking kids. We got to bug out. Like, truly, you could have spent the last 4 years, if you really believe the thing's about to collapse, having a great life.
Yeah.
But, so what's the idea here? Like, if you do survive, what kind of world are you going to be living in? You're a smoldering ruin? Like,
just enjoy it. Just be like, hey, it's gone. Let's just go on a nice walk here. The meteor's coming.
Yeah. Well, I don't know what's better. I mean, prepping is fun, though. I mean, that must feel good.
That's it. Probably it's cool. It's like Legos. It's like building a thing.
Legos.
It's nice. Yeah, always never done, always more to do.
But what do you think? I mean, let's say that like I did know something. Or let's say I knew something, and I've been like, was obviously never going to tell you on the podcast. But like, truly, if I knew something like that you needed to hear, that maybe if you listen to it, you're probably still fucked, but maybe it would give my friend a 20% better chance to survive what's coming. Wouldn't you want me to tell you? Would you want me to not tell you?
Yeah, I don't know. If I was going to do something and I could really, like, it was like, oh, hey, you just got to put lead in your ceiling, and then you're either going to survive or not. But it's not like you're going to survive it's like, if I can overcome this one thing, and then I'll be fine afterwards, Like, hey, get out of town on the 26th. It's going to be bad for New Yorkers. But then you get back into town, you're fine.
It would be a global event. Like, it's more
I'd rather just die. Don't tell me. I'd rather just die.
You don't want me to tell you?
Let me be quick.
All right.
Yeah.
That sucks. I won't tell you. Enjoy the next few weeks, dude. Man, go...
Weeks?
Go have some... get some good food.
Australia.
No, good. Oh, ooh, okay. Have fun.
That's the epicenter? Australia?
Have
Canberra?
fun. No, it'll be great. See it. When are you going? Actually,
May 11th.
ooh. Hold on. Let me just 1 second.
What?
I gotta look at my calendar for a second.
I don't land till the 13th.
Lots of fun things to do in Australia, man. Lots of fun things to do. Who's taking care of your dog when you're gone, by the way?
I mean, I guess I want you to tell me if, like, hey, you know how you're, like, researching a different liveaboard for scuba diving? You don't have to. Don't waste your time.
I just think there is a balance. Like, I don't want to stick my head in the sand and, I don't want to, like, just be on a fucking swing set anyway. They make me car sick. But I would like to know a little bit. I probably would like to know a little bit. But I've thought about it, man. If society collapses, people like us are kind of fucked.
We're gone.
We're gone. Like, we're gonna be enslaved so fast. Like, you know what I mean? They won't call it that if we're lucky enough to get into a compound.
Yeah.
They won't say that we're slaves, but they're going to expect us to say yes when they're like, you need to go clean their latrines now. Like, you know what I mean?
You don't want to get banished. It's not great out there.
You're gonna say yes. Oh yeah, great, sure, no problem. I'll clean the latrines. They're not gonna force you. But you've seen other people get sent out into the wastelands.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. Like, maybe the best thing is to just have no idea that it's coming, have no idea that the sun is about to do a micronova and it's going to affect the entire fucking planet. Will the epicenter be Australia? We're not quite sure, but a lot of the data we're getting seems to point to Australia as.
I'm not living underground.
But yeah, I would. But I don't know. Would I rather just like be irradiated by this thing that actually we figured out does happen approximately every 11,500 years? Everything that you're seeing right now, that people are confusing it with like the beginning of World War III, which it certainly isn't. It's just the last like grasping at some chips on the poker table before the fun. It's kind of the opposite of fun. The sun does this little burp or whatever you want. The kill shot. A lot of people are calling it the kill shot. Yeah. So. Yeah, man. I don't know. Would I want to know that? I don't know, man. Seems
What
like
you want to know is legitimately is for it to not happen.
What are you gonna do? Put a fucking bag on the sun?
Yeah. So don't tell me. Would you want to know your date of your death?
What?
Would you want to know the date of your death?
When did you say you're going to Australia again?
I'm landing May 13th. I'll be in the air May 12th.
See if you can get it a couple days early. No, honestly, being in the air will probably be. I mean, it doesn't matter. No, I wouldn't want to know the.
I met a guy who recommended an ayahuasca place for me, and he said he did it. And he goes, on the third day, I saw when and how I was going to die. And he goes, totally, it's fine. It's totally at peace with it. He goes, it's going to be in water. And it's when I'm like, it's not for a while. This guy was like 23 years old. And I was like, when is it? He goes, I'll be like, I think I'm 47 when that happens. It's not a big deal. And I was like, that's almost my, what?
Yeah.
Because I'll be an old man by then. I was like, at the time I was like, I'm 1 year younger than that.
What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
I used to think that too. I was like, look, if I even make it into my 40s, if I'm 50, who gives a fuck anyway? Yeah. It's all over then anyway. I won't be the same. That's a very young person's thing. And again, dude, with ayahuasca, any of these visionary things, it's like, why do you believe that?
Believe what?
When the spirit of the ayahuasca comes to you and says, hey, you're going to fucking drown in a kiddie pool when you're 48. Like, why do I believe that?
It was speaking to you from the inside. It was the fucking voice in your shoulder, the invisible guy.
It's just so weird that like people will believe that voice more than they'll believe a person telling them,
some science.
You should probably like stop drinking out of plastic bottles. Like any kind of like, if you have skin on you, people will not take you as seriously as if you can like turn into a vibrating rainbow and like emanate data. Then everyone's like, holy
Yep.
shit, I got to listen to this.
Yep. Yeah, the Skinners.
Dude, I'm so glad you came on the show, Ari.
Where's
Australia.
the AI? Where's my AI? Oh, sorry.
I'm working on it, and I'm working on it. One reason I'm working on it is I love you a lot, and if something were to happen to you and a lot of the people that I love a lot because they didn't listen or didn't want to hear, then at least I have the comfort of like some shadow or echo of them in the form of the AI clones I've been making of all my friends who don't seem to want to hear about the event that's coming that God
In
told me.
Australia?
What?
What?
Does the sun shine on Australia?
Yeah, a lot.
Okay.
With the ozone.
Okay, if the sun shines, just the main thing is this, man. It's like it's a shotgun blast of radiation. If again, going back to the earlier thing, is this true? No, I'm not sending this message out, but I wouldn't want to be in Australia in May. Hey, I wouldn't want to be there, baby. No, I tried to make it my plan for this podcast in a way to maybe lure Ari in because he does a million podcasts. I wanted it to seem interesting. Was I've been working on an AI clone of some of my friends, and Ari is actually very difficult to. So far, I'm having a little bit of a problem replicating his personality because he is enigmatic in a way that I don't think the AI can like quite duplicate.
You got to say Loki or something.
What?
Got to tell it I'm a little bit Loki.
Well, I've tried a lot of things. I've tried a lot of things, man. Sociopath, in the closet, peeper. Peeping Tom likes to peep. That's why he lives in New York. The weird stuff, the steam room stuff. It's a podcast. I don't want to say any. I've given it these data points.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't seem to. It's hard. It's hard. I think if I don't know how I would even do it. It's a really frustrating process too, because what is a person anyway? Like, how do you capture an actual, like, the expanse of a person's who they are? It's hard. You're hard to deepfake. Manson was easier to deepfake than you.
Really?
Yeah, Manson was pretty easy to deepfake. I mean, I don't know if the deepfake is just like, it feels very similar to his interviews and stuff. But and I haven't spent a lot of time on it. I've got to like put more effort into it. But next time, I just wanted Ari to interview himself.
Yeah.
That was my goal.
I'm telling you, Fred Phelps. Get him.
Wait, who is Fred Phelps again?
Reverend Fred Phelps.
Let me look it up.
From the Baptist Church of Westboro.
Oh, Fred Phelps, Reverend Phelps.
Yeah.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, Reverend.
He's a man who believed in something.
I
Despite
bet
everyone telling him he was off. He
Yeah.
believed in something.
he like stuck to it till the very end. He listened to God. What a crazy. By the way, the demon that talked to him, what a crazy version of God that was. Like,
I want you to be against homosexuality to the point where you protest the death of a heterosexual soldier.
insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Insane.
Really, like the like.
What? Are people listening to this? Like, no, nobody. My whole life, no one will go, yeah, you got a good point.
But you see, like, I mean, there's already this like low-level game that you can download where all the people in the town have been assigned personalities by an AI. They're all AI. They walk around and talk to each other. Their communication influences each other. They all have their own agendas. Some of them are religious, some of them aren't. But you can interact with them too, and you could try to like warp them if you want to. But you see how the inevitable like Sim City game that comes out, where you can be a disembodied demon, and your job is to sow discord in this community as much as you can. You can see how you would do that to one of the NPCs just to see if you could. Go into a church, start whispering to a preacher about, like, you know, God, oof, I don't think you've quite read the Bible correctly. You know,
Just try to get them all kill each other.
Dude, I'm telling you, it would be the coolest fucking game ever.
What a good World of Warcraft is like. It's like you just trying to get them to war or self suicide.
Yeah.
Scale.
Yeah, exactly. The game is a game where you play the demiurge, or whatever you want to call it, and probably like a minion of the demiurge, and it's like the Screw Tape Letters with C.S. Lewis. You're just going through a city, trying to get into people's heads with the goal of, like, causing conflict. Like, you know, I would do that if I was a demon. And that was my job.
Yeah, like you start small and then, like, see what you could do. Just be like, just put in the newspaper. Carvel will no longer serve Cookie Puss.
Yes.
See what that does. Just see what it does.
Just see what it does. Just, you know, like...
Cookie Puss is back only in Tucson.
Come to Jeffrey Dahmer, young Jeffrey Dahmer in a dream. And just be like, oh, man, I wish somebody would eat me. You know, most people really want to be eaten. That's a way to really love somebody. You know, like, try to, like...
It's the best way to connect.
Yeah, I mean, this is something Ram Dass would say. Just because something doesn't have a body doesn't mean you should trust it. And...
Ram Dass would say that a lot?
Not a lot, but, like, that definitely was, like, one of the things. Like, just because your ayahuasca trip, your mushroom trip, your great vision, your, like, whatever it was, just because some very convincing being came and said, you're going to drown in your 40s. Just, like, you know, like, if a flesh-covered thing came up to you and was like, you're going to drown in your 40s, you're going to believe that? No! Because it doesn't have a body, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to now shape my whole life with this ridiculous idea that I drowned in my 40s because some disembodied spirit entity
told me. I wonder if he'll forget that or if he'll just stay on it. Like, if he's still going, yeah, I'm going to die in my late 40s.
He's going to, I mean, this is where Wag the dog, like, he's been now programmed by whatever this experience was to just believe it. Yeah. So, like, if he like secretly wants to die or something in his 40s, he's going to start taking long swims.
Just swim out. Don't worry about the back.
Out into the ocean. Is this it? Is this it? Well, look, Ari, you are the best. I hope you come back to Austin. How long are you in Australia for?
A month.
Before we go, tell me about your awesome podcast and why it seems like in that one you uploaded of us, it looks so yellowy. Was that on purpose?
I have a map I use behind the curtain in my place, and we just uploaded a GIF of it. It's like a faded map.
No, I mean our episode.
Oh, really?
We look at the YouTube video of us. Like, we look yellowy. Like,
interesting.
Like, if it had just been me, because when I saw me, I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, I got to get my liver checked. But it was you, too. Like, we both look like we have, like, low level.
Oh, I got to ask him about that.
It's a weird look, dude. I thought it was on purpose. Like, look at it. Maybe it's just it could just be my computer screen or something. Actually, my computer screen's been fucked up lately, so maybe it was that.
It's very yellow. I don't know. Now I got to look at it.
Look it up.
Oh, I want to see it. Well, yeah, you're on my episode of You Be Trippin'. It's a new travel podcast. But YouTube, here we go.
Great podcast, by the way. It's so fun telling stories.
We talked about Varanasi. I think it might... I don't know if you're yellow.
It just seems like... I mean, I'm not saying I'm not pale, but both of us look like significantly paler than at least I perceive us. Let me look it up real quick.
Do a single shot.
Hold on. Let me find it.
I got a perfect shot of you on this. I wish I could send it to you.
Hold on, I found it. Yeah, Yeah. I mean,
You feel yellow.
both of us look yellowy. Like, I think. It's just probably the
Yeah.
lighting or something.
But I want to do a screen
Yeah.
share.
I look I mean, like, dude, again, like, it's not like I'm out in the sun all day, but yeah, here, look. Come here, look at this. It's a yellow filter or something. It's funny. I thought you did it on purpose, and I thought it was so funny. Oh, here, look. This episode was supported by my dear loves at Blue Chew. Listen, it's time for you to finally try out Blue Chew's incredible chewable tablets. These are the real things. This isn't like some gas station poison, some rebranded, repackaged runoff from some vape factory in Beijing. Something that'll give you a 7-day migraine and not even do what it said it was going to do. No, Blue Chew works. And I wouldn't promote it if I hadn't tried it out many times. I make sure that anything I plug on the podcast is good, and Blue Chew works. It's incredible. I would call it a kind of modern day miracle that surpasses anything that Oppenheimer or Einstein ever did. Sure, split the atom, theory of relativity, but what does that have to do with making sweet, sweet love to your loved ones and friends? Blue Chew wants to help you have better sex. The process is simple. Sign up at BlueChew.com, consult with one of their licensed providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The best part, it's done online, so you don't have to visit a doctor's office. You don't get bullied at the pharmacy like I do. Anytime I go in there, there's a bully there. He shoves me. He threw a tampon box at me the other day. He's a real jerk. I'm so sick of it. But Blue Chew, it sends me my wonderful chewables in a discreet package, so I don't have to worry about that part of my life. You will love it. You should try it. And we've got a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our We have a special deal for our listeners. Try Blue Chew free when you use our promo code Duncan at checkout. You just pay $5 shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code Duncan, to receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for supporting the podcast.
Look at that. How's that?
Did you
I got
send
a
me some
perfect
of your...
screenshot of you.
Look. Did you send me a...
That's you, Heil Hitler, in my.
What?
I don't know. I just went to a random place, and that's you, fucking giving your allegiance.
I did not get my fucking allegiance. Let me see here. I didn't get it. You texted me? Oh, my airplane.
Oh
mode
no,
is
I just screen share.
on. Oh, shit. I didn't know you could do that. I've been doing this thing forever. Let me see. Wait. Hold on. Let me look.
The real Ari Shaffir screen. You're a manager.
Hold on. Let me look.
It's not on your screen?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Look at that. Look at that. What the fuck is that?
Yeah, you're pretty yellow.
It's you too. We both look that level. That's like insane. Like, that's crazy. Look at that.
Yeah. You look like Manson.
I don't look like man. I look like
Your eyes, bro.
Manson looked way more healthy than me.
You're jaundiced Manson.
Dude, I look like I look like I've been like trapped in a mine collapse for like in a cave for a while. Again, I'm not saying like I have like I'm not a pale motherfucker, but that one, who knows? Maybe we were both pale that day.
That was a great episode. My friend Rolf Potts, this writer, who wrote this book behind me, The Vagabond's Way. He wrote The Vagabonding, and he said he listened to it. He goes, that should be your gold standard for your podcast, that conversation.
Really?
Yeah.
That's cool.
He goes, it's you saw the place, you saw the effect of it on a person, while not like doing an actual travel thing, but you're still getting all the details, and like, you can almost like feel it and see it, and you get what it meant to them.
That's
That should be a gold
cool.
standard for everywhere.
Well, you brought it out of me, man. It was fun talk. Like it's fun. Like it's just a brilliant idea for a podcast. And
It's fun. Just talk about one place for an hour and go more deep into it.
it's so cool because sometimes you feel guilty rambling about some place you've traveled, and to have the chance to like just share it is.
Yeah, I sent a
Cool.
picture once on Instagram, and it was just like some picture of a place I'd been, some weird place I'd been, and then I was talking to you about it. I was like, I feel like a toolbox, like uploading this, and you're like, no, you've been somewhere cool and you want to share it. That's like kind of your responsibility.
Yes.
And I get it, but sometimes at parties, like nobody wants to hear about this. You can feel it, but when people do want to hear about it, it's pretty fun.
I mean, it's such a great. It's a real tradition. I mean, that was like, especially when you're traveling, that was like part of survival. Is you meet other travelers who talk about like up there, that place. Watch
Where'd
out.
you just come from? Where'd you go? Where'd
Yeah.
you come from? I'm thinking of going there. Should I go? What should I need?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In real time, like what's cool about you doing it is you travel so much that you've got, and the people that you're having on, you're giving like real time data. Because no matter what, like even if you get like the most up to date Lonely Planet guide or whatever, it's still not as good as a first hand account of somebody who's been there recently. Which my Varanasi episode was not that, but still.
But even that, it was
first-hand account.
still a real first-hand account of a time in place, in a
Yeah.
time of the world. It's like there was a time where this is the real account of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And right, Lonely Planet will not have that. Lonely Planet will not have. Watch out for people spraying shit on your fucking shoe.
Actually, they do.
Oh damn.
They're good. Lonely Planet, I mean, they used to be. Sadly, I haven't needed one in a long time, but they're pretty good at like, if you're like, especially if you're like on a budget
Yeah.
and you're just
local
trying
scams.
to go to hostels and stuff. They're pretty gritty. They used to be. I don't know. I haven't
Yeah.
read one in a while. It's sad. They're good. They're good. You should get them to sponsor your fucking show, man.
It's a good jumping off point for sure, Lonely Planet. It's a good jumping off point. Like, hey, where do I get back? Are there ATMs there? Shit like that you actually will need to know. How much money do I bring? Should I bring crisp 20s or any 20s? Will that work?
Yeah.
You know, a little
Yeah.
breakdown of like, yeah.
And
That
but
people wouldn't think to tell you. Oh yeah, it's got to be brand new 20s or they'll never change it.
But the truth is this: you will never get the real data on a place from one of those fucking guidebooks, probably. Because the coolest places people keep secret. You won't hear about it because it ruins the place. The moment any place lands in a guidebook, it's fucked.
I went. These guys took me mushroom picking in Australia, on the Gold Coast, and they took me around. Took me to Nimbin and a few other places, which is like their Potts legal area, which is all just like old gross hippies now. And anyway, it took me to this like natural water slide, and it's just in the rock, and it's just like you just sit down, you lean back, and it just like glides you out into this big like drop into a water pool. And I'm like, this is so cool. Other people were there sunning and stuff, and I was like, and they were like, yeah, it's awesome. Like, how is it not overrun with tourists? I'm like, oh, no one will ever tell anybody.
Yeah.
Because a tour guide would be right to take someone here, and
Yeah.
it'll just be over for us. This is our place.
Yeah.
We don't tell anybody.
Yeah. That.
Now, I couldn't tell you how to get there. I don't even know what province it was, but
Right.
but it was cool, and it would be ruined.
Yeah. That's what you got to, I guess, you have to be careful about that.
Well, I do it in You Be Trippin'. I will bleep out specific names of restaurants or even cities that I think are like more minor cities.
Yeah.
I want people walking their own trail, their own path.
That's cool.
Yeah, so I don't want any place ruined. I want to know my place in the world, not ruining any place or having people show up just to do what Duncan did. It's like Duncan found it for himself. That's what Duncan did.
Even if you go there to do what Duncan did, it doesn't matter. It's Varanasi. It'll eat you up no matter what. Like, you're going to have your own unique experience. I mean,
Yeah.
I think that style of travel is the ultimate freedom, where it's like no big plan. I'm not going to see a bunch of fucking monuments. I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. And then, you just end up in the weirdest situations. That is the coolest way to travel.
When I went to Southeast Asia, I had 2 places in mind to go see. One in Vietnam, in the ocean, and one in Myanmar. And I was there for almost 5 months, and I hit one of them.
Yeah.
Of the two. All I had was 2 full things planned. But then other things came up. Komodo dragons. I didn't even know. Oh, that's this region? Oh my God. All
So
right. So then you
cool.
shift and you move different areas and it's just like, and then one day you're like, shit, I'm out of time. But like, yeah. Yeah, just let
That's
it
so
speak
cool.
to you.
If you can pull it off.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, just like, because you do meet travelers and you do make friends and they will tell you about places, or like, you just have the best weird experiences out there, that because
Yeah.
everyone's traveling who doesn't live there, and those people are all in this magical place, having this they're in a completely different consciousness.
Yeah, that hostile talk of like what to do and where, it's like unreplicable. It's just like, God, when I was in that first of those 2 places, and I was in the city where I was doing the thing, and I met some Israeli lady, and she was like, yeah, there's this like long hike, this 3-day hike. You stay in a monastery one night, you stay in a fucking, in a village another night, and they get your stuff to the end, and you meet them 3 days later. She was like, I did it was cool. And then a few of us like, you want to do it? People that I didn't know 4 days ago, I'd never even met. And then we're all doing it. And it was just like, yeah, I didn't know that was a thing. And then I went to Indonesia, and I was like, hey, you should have like a hike, like a 3 or 4 day hike over the mountains. And they're like, no, nobody wants that. I'm like, I'm telling you there's a market for it. And the guy's like, nobody's going to want that. I'm like, I'm telling you.
I know.
But no.
Maybe it's different out there. I don't know. Who knows?
No, it's just like, they're like, what's there to see? I'm like, there's nothing to see. They just want to like see the countryside. You just got to show them how to get around.
You know where I would like you to go? I'm not going to be traveling for a while. And I mean
Where?
this. It sounds like I'm trying to be edgelordy or what. Russia. Russia is beautiful. By the way, it's so gigantic.
It's
And
so
there's, and I spent some time going and looking at like Russian tourism websites and stuff. And dude, there are parts of it that are like so insanely beautiful and crazy, and like places that are so far off the grid, like truly off the grid. No electricity, no paved roads. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah,
Yeah, like you see. Wait, where's? Oh, yeah, okay. So here's where did Moscow go? I just saw it.
Moscow.
Yeah. Oh, there.
Yeah,
Okay, there's Moscow, and then there's St. Petersburg. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
And then look at all this.
yes.
What the fuck is Belovo? What's Tashtagol?
Fucking
You know, like,
Mongolia.
what are we talking about?
Yes, it's huge.
And it goes all the way down to here. It goes south of it. It's even with Sochi is even with Florence.
Dude, I'm telling you, it would be so cool. You could meet Snowden. Doesn't he live out there? You could take
does.
you could take the Trans-Siberian Express, which I've always
That
wanted
train
to-
that interests me. The Trans-Siberian Railroad.
Yeah, you could take that across. I mean, that would be really cool to go out
I
there.
bet the countryside is really beautiful on the train.
Oh my God, beautiful.
Just never called me.
Me
Russia never
either
called
until and what you know what? Why suddenly I thought about it is just out of the blue. I'm like, wait, have we been like basically programmed to not think about visiting Russia? Like, you know what I mean? Like, is it in the conditioning to like not even ever want to go there? A lot of great writers come from there. It's like, you know, and I don't know what the conditions are there, but I imagine if you get like out of the cities and deep into the countryside. God,
Dude, I just
it
heard
would be
about you know Pussy Riot, right?
yeah, sure.
So I just did a little research on them because one of them kind of like some artist I don't know, but reached out from Iceland, was telling me about one of them, and it's not really a band. The more I research, it's just like a group of artists, and they do music as well as other things, but they got like misconstrued as like a band, but it's just a collective. It's an artist collective. Anyway, so after a bunch of them were arrested and put in a fucking gulag for a while, one of them left and went to I think L.A. or something. And one of them stayed. This lady named Maria stayed. And she was like, instead of going, oh, I hate Russia, she was actually like, no, I still love Russia. And I want to free Russia from the state they're in. And so she stayed sowing like discontent and dissidence until the Ukrainian war. And once the Ukrainian war came, they fucking came to her house to arrest her again. So she had to escape in the middle of the night. She had to dress up as a food worker. And then escapes. She's living in Iceland now. but it's like all this crazy shit, and it's like she's an artist. She's a Russian artist with like a badass fucking vibe.
You know what, Ari? Now that I think about it, yeah, don't go to Russia. Maybe now's not the time.
What about China?
China would be incredible. I'd love to go to China.
That's all what Shanghai and Beijing, Hong Kong. What about all this? There's not even a city on here.
Dude, it would be amazing. I mean, all these, like, you know, you have all these places where it's like there's still humans there, but maybe the state there, you know, you just don't know how much of not going to a place is because of what you've been told from something trying to like propagandize you, and how much is true. And you'll never know till you go.
So I just went with I just did a You Be Trippin' episode with Giulio Gallerati, this comic from New York. He's a real traveler. He's telling about Afghanistan. And then one of the things he noticed, he was like, hey, how come women here aren't all covered up?
Right.
He goes, some of them are showing their faces. Is it the law? They're like, yeah, it's the law. The official Taliban law is you got to cover your face. And he goes, but that one's not, that one's not, that one's not. And they were like, yeah, I mean, we don't really enforce it as much as you think. I was like, oh, it's like jaywalking's not allowed. But nobody's going to get arrested over that outside LA.
Dude, I'm telling you, that's the like, well, you're not going to know anything. Go. You got to go, because you're not going to know from social media. You're not going to know until you're there. And the problem is, if you go there and as it turns out the depictions are true, you're not coming back, maybe. You know, like,
right.
That's the problem. It's like, fuck, I'm arrested for no reason. I guess they were right. That's the scary. You got to really roll the dice, man, especially someone like you, a public figure, where they know you, like, you know, you could be in trouble. I mean, you could be collateral, man. They could just, any of these places just arrest you and try to trade you from some arms manufacturer or something. Prisoner exchange.
I'm a real Bernie grinder.
You can't bring weed there, though, for sure. If you were to go, no, you cannot.
Find weed. I can find
Dude,
weed.
Shut up! No.
Shivitsnyak? Did you just break into Russian?
No.
Shivitsnyak.
No,
I heard you were about to break into Russian.
You misheard. I don't know any other languages other than English. Good old English. All you need. I don't know Russian. Did you really hear me say something in Russian? Oh, I gotta go. Woo! I gotta go. Ari, you have been wonderful. You're the best, man. I can't wait to see you when you come back to Austin. And
me too.
I'll put a link to Ari's podcast, of course, in the comment section of this episode. You're the best. Have a good night, Ari. Bye. That was Ari Shaffir. Everybody, don't forget to like and subscribe this podcast. And don't forget to listen to Ari's podcast or watch Ari's podcast. You Be Trippin'. I love you guys. I'll see you next week. Bye.